Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Michi Makes Up. In today's video, I'm going to be comparing two different brands matte lipsticks. And these brands are Merit Beauty's. This is their Signature Lip Lightweight Lipstick in Matte Finish, and then Westman Atelier's Lip Suede Matte Lipsticks. The reason I'm comparing these two is they had both launched their matte lipsticks about the same time, just like a couple of months ago. And I thought, you know, these are both brands that I love. And I did manage to get two shades from each of the brands. So I think it might be interesting to do a comparison video. I think some people have maybe the same questions as I do, like how are they actually, you know, different from each other? And how do they wear? What are the shades available? Maybe the cost of these lipsticks, if you're interested in picking any up. So I just wanted to sit down, spend some time looking and demoing these for you. And for full transparency, I have on a number of occasions partnered or collaborated with Merit Beauty. So I just wanted to put that and let you guys know ahead of time. And I also do love Merit Beauty as a brand and what they stand for. I've been using their products very, very consistently over the past 3 to 4 years. On the other hand, with Westman Atelier, I've also been using Westman Atelier for the last couple of years. I would say in terms of usage of the brands, I use Merit Beauty a bit more because they do send over PR that then I end up enjoying the new product. The Merit Beauty matte lipsticks are $26 each, whereas the Westman Atelier matte lipsticks are going to be $50 each. Obviously, the packaging is notably different. I would say in terms of like heftiness and just how they feel, the Westman Atelier lipsticks, the cases, they do feel and are more luxurious. They're very much on theme with the rest of their beauty products where you have, you know, this kind of cylindrical form to them. You have this magnetic closure and information about the product at the bottom here. And then, you know, you swivel this to access the bullet. This is in the shade Lacquer, which I will swatch for you in a moment. And then they have this embossed here. So it's very much in line with other Westman Atelier products. So this is their Baby Cheeks Blush in Popette. Really the same idea. In fact, I would say they, you know, updated the look a bit by adding this gold trim. And also when you open it, there's that gold, or yeah, I would say yes, this gold finish on the inside. So it's kind of been upgraded. The ingredients of both lipsticks, I'm not an ingredients expert. I have some knowledge. There are definitely some similarities. Both have quite a bit of oils, which helps to keep your lips comfortable and hydrated, even though these are matte lipsticks. And some of these oils actually are the same on both, but having just, you know, briefly looking over each of their ingredient set, there are some differences. And if you're interested, you can always pop over to their websites to take a look at each of the products' full list. Merit Beauty's lipsticks are made in the States, whereas Westman Atelier's lipsticks are made in Italy. So moving on to, actually, I just want to cover Merit Beauty's packaging of their lipsticks. This is the same packaging they have for their Signature Lip Satin lipsticks. And the bullet is like this. You've got, anyways, gold here, which is beautiful. So this is more of your classic lipstick case. And then we have product information at the top of the bullet case. Oh, that's actually upside down. Here you go. This is in the shade Classic. So let me go ahead and swatch each of the shades for you. I did not go ahead and purchase the same shades from different brands. I just got what I was most interested in. Now for the Merit Beauty lipsticks, this was sent to me as PR. This is in the shade Classic, which as the name implies, it is a classic lighter nude shade. And then I have also from Merit, this is going to be the shade Power. Power is a kind of like a berry red shade, and because of that, you know, shade intensity. I feel like it's just more pigmented. It definitely does feel a little bit thicker when I swatched it. And then moving over to Westman Atelier, I have that initial shade you guys saw, which is going to be Lacquer. And then I want to show you the cute Westman Atelier logo or emblem. You got all these cute little hearts all throughout the bullet. I think that's really adorable. The Merit Beauty lipsticks are unscented, whereas the Westman Atelier ones have like a chocolate scent, like a chocolate vanilla or sweet chocolate scent. And then my second Westman Atelier matte lipstick, this is in the shade LFG. Will somebody let me know what LFG stands for? I suppose I can, look at go onto the website and just check. But these are the 4 shades. They are all different from each other, so there's really no comparison there in terms of like, how do the bright pinks look on each of the brands? Merit Beauty actually doesn't have a bright pink shade. Let me go ahead and do some lip demonstrations for you, and then we'll kind of come back to talk more about how these feel on the lips, and then I'll give you guys more of a summary of their differences and what I think of the 2 brands. This is going to be Classic. Let me go back in with a second application to see how buildable it is. The lipsticks are buildable for Merit Beauty, and going in with a very generous second application, I do feel like now I have more pigment of Classic. Also worth noting is that I do have darker lip pigment, and so something that looks maybe kind of light on my the back of my hand can appear a little bit deeper when it's on my lips. Then we have Power. I'm really happy with how this has turned out, and this kind of berry red appears, against my lip pigment and complexion at this time is really impactful. It looks much more of a very popping red color than it does on the back of my hand. So I think that's really interesting. I've gone quite a bit of sun when I was on vacation. In fact, let me show you. This is the tan that I have. And my foundation today is probably a shade light than where I need to be given the tan. But I love how this red pops. In fact, this is the first time that I've actually tried Power from Merit. I've worn the Classic shade a couple of times. The first time with Power, and I'm just really impressed with how it looks. It's a really good fit for me, actually. Because of this, bright shade, I did have to go back and make sure all the lines were filled out nicely. So I probably do have, strictly speaking, 2 applications on already. However, for demonstration, I will go back in to just layer another application. Wow. This how it looks, the texture really reminds me of that velvet fabric or velour fabric used for poppy flower pins up in Canada. So for Remembrance Day growing up, we always got pins to wear, and this shade, given that it's also like a matte, so everything about it, the texture, the shade, this finish, this whole thing reminds me of those poppy flower pins. Stunning. It's really beautiful. All right, moving on to Westman Atelier. I'm first going to use the lighter shade Lacquer. That's Lacquer with a generous single application. I would say, given how light this shade is, and that I had a much deeper, brighter shade my last demonstration. I do need to like do some work here to fill in the line. So let me do that as I'm going in for the second application. I love a light shade like this. My makeup, I probably need to deepen the skin a little bit more. Also notice I don't have eyeshadow on, but I absolutely love this shade. You just need to work the makeup so it complements the lipstick, or that the lipstick complements the rest of your makeup look. So I certainly would not be wearing this, and my makeup will be a little bit different when I'm serious about carrying a look with this lipstick, but this is lacquer. And then for our last demonstration, we have the shade LFG. This bright, beautiful fuchsia. Let me go in and apply a second application. And LFG, as expected, does appear very bright on the lips. I do love a good, cool, bright shade. What's interesting though, when I went in with the second application for both lacquer and LFG, but especially LFG, I didn't quite feel that second application. Like it didn't feel like I had a additional product come layered on or put on. That was a very clunky way of describing just how it feels. The point I'm trying to make is with the Merit Beauty matte lipsticks, you really do feel that you have a second layer of product on, whereas the Westman Atelier lipsticks, not so much. And I think that has to do with how emollient these matte lipsticks feel. If you look at the swatches on my hand, because it's now been several minutes since I first applied them, I think you might be able to see just how still shiny they are. No doubt these are still matte lipsticks, but it's just looks more emollient than Merit Beauty. I mean, that has to do so much so with the formulation. They're both matte lipsticks, but I think the Westman Atelier one probably has more oils or higher concentration of oils to give you just a very emollient feel on the lips. I have worn I think in lacquer, I've worn this, the shade for an entire evening, and it stays pretty emollient feeling, even though visually it is a matte lipstick. Now, because it does have more oils, and we see it both on the back of my hand, and there's still like a level of shimmer shininess on the lips, I would say the Merit Beauty lipsticks are more matte in that they do kind of suck in more light in comparison to the Westman Atelier lipsticks. In terms of comfort, I think the Westman Atelier lipsticks are going to be more comfortable because, again, it has more oils, it is more emollient. One thing I did want to point out before we get into some other shade comparisons is actually two things here. I didn't mention that on the bullet of the Merit Beauty lipsticks, you have Merit on it, which is always a nice touch. But the other thing is, I was talking to my friend Mel, and I've had an issue with Lisa Eldridge's matte or her velvet lipsticks, where the bullet just clean came off at the base. Very sad. It was one of my favorite shades from her. And we were talking, and she's like, you know, the Merit lipsticks could be at risk to do the same because of the packaging, just how the lipstick casing is. And I could see what she means because, you know, if you can see this line here, right, that's just when you're putting it on, it could have touched the edges, or you're just applying some pressure and you're maybe like bending it a little bit. Fortunately, knock on wood, I haven't actually had any issues with any of my Merit lipsticks, satin or matte, although the matte ones are very new. I like to keep it that way, of course, and but I think that is something to be aware of. I don't feel that way with the Westman Atelier lipsticks. When I put them on, I feel like there's a little bit more security there. So while this is a very nuanced thing, I thought it was worth mentioning because it did happen to my friend, so I wanted to tell you guys about it. For the last portion of this video, I'm going to take out some other matte lipsticks from other brands so we can do some cross-brand comparisons. For comparisons, I have some lipsticks from Lisa Eldridge, Dior, and Chanel. So we're going to start with the Dior lipstick here. This is from their Rouge Dior 720 Icon in Velvet Finish. And it looks really deep on camera, but I feel like on the lips, it closely resembles what Merit Beauty's red may have looked like, but deeper, a little bit deeper. This is actually a beautiful, beautiful red, and it has that same wow effect that I thought Merit Beauty's Power has. And the reason why I don't wear it more often is just the scent. It's just way too strong for me, and I don't gravitate towards lipsticks, unfortunately, with that strong scent, but the finish is beautiful. And it does, you know, I did give it a very generous swatch here, and I feel like it would appear more matte, velvety, as the name implies, than the Merit Beauty lipsticks. I also have from Chanel, this is their Luminous Velvet Lipsticks in the shade Intense. So this shade I'm more interested to compare against LFG from Westman Atelier. The Westman Atelier one is more intense, deeper, brighter, and this is lighter. I think that's to be expected because these are considered to be very comfortable, you know, the lightweight version of matte lipsticks. Not in a bad way, it's just more luminous for a velvet finish. And then moving on to Lisa Eldridge, her velvet formula, I think she calls them true velvet lipsticks, are truly very much like the texture is absolutely beautiful, and she is very on point with her shades. You know, that's really her claim to fame, and you know, with lipsticks, it's just how gorgeous they are. So I have a couple of her velvet lipsticks. I was interested to see if Velvet Blush Lightly had any similarities to any of the shades we tried today. So I'm just going to swatch it underneath Classic. And I would say, no, I mean, Classic itself does appear mauve-y, like a light nude mauve. And this is certainly a much deeper, much more pigmented mauve. And that is the beauty of LE's Velvet formula. And I have Velvet Petal, which is lighter than Blush Lightly. So again, I'll swatch it next to Classic. We might have a sister shade here to be, you know, an adjacent shade or a cousin shade of Classic. It is more intense, again, with the Lisa Eldridge Velvet formula. Gorgeous finish. For the final comparison, one of my two favorite shades from Lisa Eldridge is going to be Velvet Carnival. This is the one where the bullet, I can't show you the full thing because it's just going to fall right off, but this is the one where it came clean off of the base. Support was really great. They jumped into action and a replacement is on the way, but I think, you know, you could see some of that stress. This is the velvet lipstick from her that I've used most often, so you can see there's true, you know, wear. But this is kind of intense, right? This is a lot. Anyhow, let me swatch for shade comparison next to LFG. Definitely the fuchsias are similar to each other. This is the most matte since it's like a true velvet compared to the others. And of course, Westman Atelier, with that texture and the oils and the formulation, it is still the most emollient out of all of these mattes. So overall, you know, I think the two matte lipsticks from each of the brands, they're quite different from each other. The shade offering available also varies greatly from each other. I'll have like a photo of the shade offering above. Merit Beauty's overall leans more on the classic matte lipstick side, and generally the shades are more geared towards like day-to-day wear, and there's less, actually there is no shade where there's like a lot of pop. I think Power is probably maybe the only one that has like that wow factor to it. I was certainly surprised because it didn't look like it on the back of my hand. Whereas Westman Atelier is offering, you know, some of the more classic nude shades that are very common for matte lipsticks, but she also has some pop shades in there, and also some deeper browns for deeper skin tones, and so there's like just a little bit more shade variation. As for how these two wear, I'm gonna wear this for a couple hours, but my imagination would be this is gonna be one of the most comfortable matte lipsticks next to Chanel's Luminous Matte. However, Chanel's is the lightweight matte, if you will, whereas this offers much more pigment overall, even though it's going to be like a comfortable matte lipstick. Yeah, I think the two are certainly different enough from each other where if you see one shade that you enjoy more than that grabs your attention, I think that's the one you go with. Yeah, so overall, I'm very pleased that I have some matte lipsticks from both of these brands. What piqued my curiosity too, as I was like looking through some of the Westman Atelier lipsticks I have, is that they actually don't have a satin lipstick. They have a liquid lip balm. This is their squeaky clean liquid lip balm. And they have these lip suedes that come in compacts like these with a couple of 4 shades. You can't really see this bottom shade very well because I was mixing the two. And they're not quite satins, they're not mattes, or like in between. They're hydrating, yet they are not particularly emollient, but it's not matte. So it's an in between. I guess truly it's a lip suede, whatever that is for Westman Atelier. And people do enjoy these. There's been a couple of different color stories available. This is a limited edition. It's called Le Bordeaux, which is inspired by wines of the Bordeaux region. So yeah, it's interesting they just skipped over the satin. Maybe we'll get something in the future. So for now, I'll be enjoying their matte lipsticks from Westman Atelier and of course Merit Beauty. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be back with more content soon. Bye.